Hello, this is Athena Jezik, and today I'd like to show you a few things that might help if you have a headache. Although, from the practice that I do now, after all of this time that I've been working at it, I have found that the subtle techniques and the things that I teach in the course are going to be much more effective. So this will just give you a little bit of things you can do. You can just kind of start around the neck and check the muscles there. You know, massage is just mostly dealing with muscles. It really doesn't have something that's specifically for headaches, so we just want to loosen up muscles that might be contributing to maybe tension that goes up into the base of the skull. Sometimes if you're taking any kind of medication or over-the-counter things to relieve a headache, that can become accumulative and actually turn out in the long run to be the cause of headaches, because the body gets used to having it. So that's something that you might want to take note of. Now here I'm just pulling the muscles away from the spine a little bit, just a kind of a rolling thing to get the neck relaxed. The neck is usually pretty tight when people have headaches, so we want to make sure that that's opened. So you want to just go up and down through the neck a few times and check it out. Then you can also just take your fingers in on either side of the spine and feel the muscles there, kind of coming up one vertebrae at a time. Just a little circular motion. You can feel if the muscles are tight, and that's really a nice thing to do. And her head is flat now on here because I can get my hands under the neck better. And then what I like to do is just cradle the head and do a little bit of traction. The traction is something that you'll learn in the course if you take the course. But you want to just do a little bit of tractioning, and it's very, very gentle. You don't do much. And that will unwind anything that's happening. And that there was a little jump there that I felt on the left-hand side. So that was a muscle releasing. Okay, then you can kind of tell when it's soft enough. And then what I'm going to do is put the towel underneath her head just to lift it up a little bit, a little more of a raise. That way the head doesn't have to fall backward too far. And then you want to go along the shoulders a little bit, checking through here, this trapezius part. We did a little bit around the clavicle. And it's just checking to see where the attachments are and if they're tight. This is considered all massage technique. Okay, and then I'm going to take this oil, and again, it's the True Hemp Science product. We have it listed on below the video if you're looking for the website. It's a nice viscosity. I really like this. It's probably the favorite that I've used over the years. Set that over there for now. And we'll just get that on the back of the neck, a little bit out on the shoulders. I think I need a little bit more on the shoulders because the shoulders tie into the neck. That's one thing you'll want to do, is make sure that you look at an anatomy book and see how the muscles come into the neck, the levator as well as the trapezius. And then draw the thumbs down right along the trapezius, and you'll feel it either being kind of bumpy or it'll be real smooth. And if it's real smooth and pliable, then you'll know that the muscles are softened. If there's little bumps or something in there that you're doing, just find them and run your fingers across them at first, and then you can go back and do the unwinding technique if you need to, where you're just going to be unwinding those little tense areas. It's usually tension that just kind of knots up, nothing real serious. And the pressure isn't very much. In massage, you do use a little more pressure. I do anyway, than with the subtle techniques, but don't go too deep into that, because sometimes deep tissue work is not comfortable, especially if you go into it too quickly. So I would advise you to go slowly into the body and treat the body with a little more respect than just digging in and conquering something, because you'll lose the chemistry in the muscle. The chemistry in the muscle will let it go. It's called muscle failure when you do that, and then you think you've got it all worked out, but it'll come back once it gets back to the chemistry. So, that's a big problem that I've seen with massage people, that they push so hard and they pound so hard that finally the body just can't take it. So it goes into what's called muscle failure. And they think that then they've done a good job, but actually all they've done is just taken the body into muscle failure and caused a little bit more trauma on that area. So now the neck is feeling much softer than when we started, just by doing that little bit of work. So we're starting back there with the neck. And then we want to just kind of check around the jaw. Sometimes the jaw is a lot of clenching of the jaw when we're stressful. Basically, I would say I'm working more with a stress type of headache than like a migraine. Migraines are very tricky. They have a lot of different reasons that they come, but usually what it is it's misalignment and twisting of the dural tube. So that's something that's a little bit more in depth. So here I'm just going to just relax the face and around where the jaw is on the muscles, and also come up into this area where the jaw actually attaches into the temporal bone, and just work around that little joint a little bit. Oftentimes you'll find some tension there, and the muscles that are right along the jaw. You just want to find where these muscles are and make sure that they're soft. So I would suggest you looking into an anatomy book. I think that's really important to get your mapping that way. So we kind of go along there. And then it's good, oftentimes headaches are kind of at the temple. So we want to go very gently across that temple area, because a lot of times what I find when I do the headache work is that the sphenoid bone is out of alignment in certain directions. So that has to be figured out and put back into the alignment pattern. But in the meantime, you can just kind of brush down the face. The main thing, too, is with headaches is oftentimes when there's stress headaches, just to get the person to relax will help quite a bit, because there's just too much tension, too much adrenaline, too much things going on in the body that it shouldn't be, and it's been for a while, too. Now you can go up to the forehead, and I'm just going to put a very little amount, because if you don't have something on there, a little something on there, you'll be pulling on the skin, and that's not what we want to do. We just want to be able to slip on that and just go across the forehead, up and down, and then separate your thumbs as you continue to go up and down on the forehead. And then get that relaxed out a little bit, and then take your fingers and draw it out this way. Just rubbing in, but go light over this sphenoid area, the wings of the sphenoid. Don't press on the sphenoid bone. That's one thing that really bothers me when I've been on a table and someone has pushed on my temples, the sphenoid bone. It doesn't feel good, and I understand the anatomy and the cranial part of that it's not a good thing to do, but that's what they do sometimes. So I would say be careful of that sphenoid bone, because you can take it out of the alignment pattern if you're too rough with it. And just draw that out up to the hairline. And then you can make little circles as well. This is more, you're into the muscle, but you'll see the skin moving with this. And very gently over that sphenoid area. Then you can also take the time and kind of go under the eyes. Draw that out and up, and out and up, and out and up. Kind of make the circle around the eyes and draw it around and around. So you're just following kind of the cheeks, going from the nose and the cheeks, to just draw the skin around this way, which makes it pretty relaxing. Okay. And then we can also work on the neck a little bit, where you turn the head to the side and get to the back of the head and work up near the base of the skull. And just little short strokes there from the neck up to the spine. Don't go on the spine itself. Stay a little bit to the side of it. And then if you want, you can take it down further into the shoulders. And again, you're checking for relaxation through here. And this may not make the headache go completely away, not in the way that the subtle anatomy work does, but it will oftentimes just give a little bit more relief. At least the person will feel better in their body, a little more relaxed in their body. And then you want to do the other side, same thing, where you're just drawing down on the neck muscles. And you can take little strokes. When the muscles are pretty relaxed, you can take the longer strokes right away, but if they're not real relaxed, then you want to get the loosening up where the attachments are, and then work it down from there. You can go back as far to the spine, but stay on this side of the spine. Okay. That feels pretty good. And then some people have real sensitive heads, so you have to be careful with this. But again, if you go soft and gentle in it, it's not as bad as going rough, because the roughness is what people a lot of times don't like. So here I'm just taking my fingers and just doing little circular movements. Here's the sphenoid area, so I'm above that. I'm actually more on the temporal bone here. And you just want to do that. We can take it up. There's different ways you can do this. You can go along the back and then, circle back around. But I like to go up in kind of more straighter curves, straighter lines, and just go up along the hairline. And then take the fingers a little bit farther back. You're like another little line that you're making. And then you want to go down the head. And this is very gentle. You're not digging in at all on on this. After you do subtle work for a while, you realize how easy these bones can move. Even though they're told that they don't move, they do move. And how little it takes to move them out of position. That's another reason I like to do it on both sides at the same time, bilaterally, because then equal amount of pressure on both sides will tend to keep them from maybe slipping or sliding. It does take a little bit of force to do that, but at the same time, I've seen people move bones with very little pressure, because they're using energy, and if it's that little of pressure that you can actually move a bone, then it's best to err on the side of caution and be lighter. And then through here, you just have to figure out how you want to do it. But you want to cover all the spaces as possible, because this is where their headache is. Maybe we might be in another spot, but we're just going around the head just to get the head kind of relaxed and all the circulation from that goes around the top of the head outside of the skull. But as you probably know, headaches happen within the skull. Oftentimes it's just misalignment because of a little bit of inflammation maybe, or a little misadjustment of the bone. And just keep working up into the crown area where the parietal bone and the occiput come together. And feel in there. That's another spot. And then you can place your hands, fingers behind the ears, and just place your hands on the skull and very gently just hold the skull. Just hold it. And if you are in the course and you're being trained to this, then you can utilize the energy and start doing that type of thing on this, so that you're actually able to move some of the bones this way. But otherwise, just grip the head, and with a little bit of a very light pressure, just hold that head gently and just let it kind of relax more, the skin, the muscles in this area. And then if you do know how to flip energy in, you want to push energy in and you want to take the pressure off at the same time. But that's something that you should be trained in, or at least be aware of how to do it, to get the right energy in there with the right intention and everything like that. And you can move your hands to a little bit different position and do the same thing, just to keep it nice and relaxing. And I think a lot of it is just getting the person into a quiet space, not only in the environment, but also just a quiet space within themselves. So just continue to work along these with this little tiny circular motion, and put a little intention in there that you want to see their headache be relieved. And you can kind of do that there too. And then again, sometimes the headaches, when they're in the back of the head, it hurts to lay down. So you might have to put something that's a little softer under their head. Just be mindful of that. And then you can just go back and just grip the back of the head, let it just rest in the hands like you're cradling it. And just give a little bit of that traction again. If you know how to do this traction, it's a subtle technique, because that way you can get the dural tube to be activated a little bit, and you can also feel if there's any misalignment with some of the soft tissue around the vertebrae. And that's a real interesting thing to do. So you're doing a little bit of a two-way, three-way motion thing here with the hands. Yeah, it's a subtle technique. But if you're just doing it without knowing that technique, just don't pull on the head. Just let it cradle and just let it sit there and just let it kind of do what it wants to do. The other thing you can do is hold the head with both hands and lift it up just a little bit, and then just let the head, see if the head wants to move around a little bit. So you're just kind of following, or you steer a little bit to make sure that there's a nice smoothness to their neck and head. And the other way. And you'll be able to feel when it gets a little tight, but what you don't want is to go so fast that they tense up their neck, because then you've just undone everything you just did. And then back to that center. Turn the head like side and side. This will be like a side bend. The other one is like a torque. And then you can also pull the head up and then have your hands under the neck and just drop it down. You're pulling the head up and hold the neck. And that's kind of a different motion, because a lot of times what we're doing with computer work, we're always leaning our head forward, so we want to let that head come to the back, kind of stretching that, putting those bones in a different position. Sometimes there's fused bones and things like that. A lot of times people will go to chiropractors to work with headaches, and so they align the neck that way. They'll crack the neck. They rarely will. Sometimes they'll do some cranial techniques that chiropractors learn, which are pretty rough. I don't like that to be done like that on me. And then you just go back down and feel the muscles along the spine in the neck and draw it up. See about the head. You can just draw it up from there all the way to the top of the head. And you can do it in a different line where you're closer to the ears there. And then you can go in front of the ears here, just drawing that up. And then from the neck up around, I would very gently over that sphenoid area. You can kind of go across the eyes a little bit. Be very gentle if you're doing the eyes. This is kind of a technique, a lymph technique. And then you can also go to the ears and just rotate the ears with your fingers very gently. Just kind of rotate around. There's a few things you can do with the ears to help align the bones in the head. But whatever it is that you're doing, you want to stay mindful and gentle. And then back to the jaw, check the jaw joint, the temporomandibular joint. And just feel that if it's soft, you can do little circular motions there too. You'll be able to tell if you have the fingers for it and you understand what you're looking for. You can oftentimes tell if the jaw is out of alignment when you go to that joint. And then brush off a little bit more from the neck and the shoulders. And even though maybe the headache didn't go completely away, the client is relaxed more, and that's oftentimes what they just need. They just need it to just relax down, and then the body can turn off some of those stress hormones that have been pumping all day long and actually get into more of a deep brainwave pattern where you're relaxing instead of just being tense and on the go and on alert and looking for snakes everywhere. Okay. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and check the like button if you enjoy this work. And check with the links that we have provided for you to see if you want to do the newsletter or buy the Hemp Science product or join the course on subtle anatomy. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time. I want to invite you to explore my course, The Foundations of Subtle Alignment. It is going to take you beyond the work of massage therapy. It will take you into the world of the subtle anatomy. Misalignment of the subtle structures is often the root cause of chronic pain, injuries, and chronically high levels of stress hormones. These techniques offer profound benefit whether you are working on people with complex issues or not. In this course, you will learn about the subtle anatomy and a protocol for assessing and aligning the subtle structures.